All right, g'day Raleigh. Looks like another fantastically hot July day here in the Triangle, and we cooled off yesterday for the very first time at Wet and Wild Water Park in Greensboro, which was a lot of fun for the kids.
It was.
And we'll have a blog post and video coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Today we have a special guest joining us, and we're excited to hear all about that. But first, before we dive in, I just want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, April Blackwell from Blackwell Mortgage, who customizes mortgage plans so you can live your best life. And each mortgage donates funds to support children and families in need with every loan closed. And Caroline and I personally used April's services to finance our own home purchase last year here in Raleigh, and loved her experience and knowledge in the industry and her personal touch and communication skills. Always quick to answer any questions and run the numbers on any offers we submitted. So if you're looking to finance a home this year or any year, go to blackwellmortgagenc.com to schedule a consultation and tell her that Kaz and Craig from This Is Raleigh sent you.
Yep, and that website will be in our show notes as well. All right, thanks for that. Let's get started. We're very excited today to be chatting with Cary Heise, co-founder of one of my favourite nonprofits in Raleigh, Designed for Joy. Designed for Joy provides second chance employment to vulnerable women from situations such as trafficking, homelessness, time in prison, overcoming addiction or other vulnerable situations. Since its founding, the nonprofit has provided 68 artisans with safe work and supplied $180,000 in living wages. Artisans are taught skills to create the Designed for Joy brand of jewellery, handbags and home decor. Founders Cary and Kristen Sido are big believers in encouraging women to live to their full potential and pursue their passions. So that's the kind of guests we love to have on our show. Welcome, Cary.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We're so excited to hear more of your story. I first came across you at a women's social club event. It was my first actual event with them, and we came to the studio and we saw everything that you're doing and heard more about your story, and I just fell in love with your mission, and of course your brand is just wonderful, the things that you're designing there. So thanks for coming, and let's dive in and just hear a little bit more about you and your background.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is we're not even in that space anymore.
No.
And that was just a year and a couple months ago, because you've already seen the growth that Raleigh has provided our women. And so how I started, I was a serial entrepreneur, and then I was also doing a lot of international mission work for about 8 to 10 years. And I kind of saw those two worlds colliding, meaning using my business know-how and then applying it to support the women who are vulnerable here in Raleigh. Because the women we're serving in Africa or Belize or wherever we were are struggling with the same things that our women are, especially those living below the poverty line. And my friend Kristen is a true artist. I wish she were here today, but she went to the Fashion Institute of Technology, and she knows textiles. And we're just like a really great fit. She does the zippers and I do the social media, and this is the brand that we have that's really changing women's lives.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And so how long ago did you start Design for Joy? I know in the year that you mentioned, a year and a bit, you have grown a lot, and you're now in the warehouse district in a bigger space. But take us back to when it actually started.
So we started in 2017. I was on one particular trip. It wasn't a mission trip. We were leading a group of women entrepreneurs, and we were with a woman, and she just had, I just saw that fair trade living wage work model in front of me, and I thought, oh, we can just do this in our backyard. Our women need this same support. And we came home from that trip, and within 2 months we were hiring, and we were a 501c3. So things happened very quickly for us. We were using borrowed space. We would put sewing machines in Kristen's minivan and truck around Raleigh. And then we got a little 800 square foot studio on the other side of Cabarrus Street, right by the prison. And that's where we started. And now we just landed a warehouse, a 5,000 square foot studio production space. And the numbers that you read, not to point out error, but we grow so quickly. To date, we've actually hired 83 women.
Wow.
And it goes very quickly. But we are transitional work, so women come to us for 3 to 6 months at a time. And now we have this incredible day work program for women who are needing some emergency funds. So those numbers tick up quickly because there's an ongoing need.
Yeah, right.
Awesome.
Incredible. How did you go in 2 months? You started setting things up. How did someone do that? Like you mentioned that you're an entrepreneur, so you must have had some know-how or skill there, or was it literally just we're just going to throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks?
It was not right.
So what is I don't know what a 501c is. What's that?
501c3
is
a nonprofit, so that the government then holds you accountable to a board.
Right.
And so you get certain tax credits, tax advantages. You can accept donations, and people are allowed to get a tax credit, like a tax receipt from that. Mm-hmm. But your board holds you accountable to the government.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is a whole nother beast. And to be honest with you, that 2 months, I had it all laid out. I already owned 3 businesses. So I thought, this is another business. I got it. I had our mission statement. I had our vision. I had the needs. I had everything laid out. But leading a nonprofit is a completely different thing. And there was a huge learning curve for me. So it did launch really, really well. And we got tons of support at the beginning. And we continue to get a ton of support. But we were talking before we started recording about being an entrepreneur, and like 2 months after that, I cried for like 2 months because it was like overwhelming knowledge of things that I just really didn't know.
Yeah.
But we survived, and we always have incredible support in our board and in our staff and in our communities. But it wasn't all like roses.
No.
No.
Oh, gosh, we know the truth.
Yeah, we're 12 years into it, and we probably shed a
crying.
tear here and there. It's like we're quitting like every second day, maybe.
Yes. Well, when we got the new
it's
studio,
a journey.
I'm sorry to talk over you.
No, you're fine.
I get a little when I talk about it. But when we landed our spot in the warehouse district, that real estate is very difficult, And we were trying to negotiate between a couple different spaces. And once I said to my husband, I'm like, I guess this is where I quit. Yeah. And he's like, no, you don't.
Oh, he's got him there.
Yeah.
You mentioned when you started, you already had your mission and your vision statement. And I think any entrepreneur who doesn't quit, even though they want to, is because they have very strong mission and vision in place. Would you say the same? That's the thing that carries you through the dark moments?
Well, fully. But I think it's like being an artist. Like you have this piece of work inside of you, and you just have to work for it to come to fruition. Like you have to. I'm definitely a visionary. I didn't used to call myself that, but that's also how I started and sold 3 different businesses. Like something has to come to life for me, and I work really hard, and I love when people tell me I can't do it.
Yeah.
Because I will show you.
I'll show you.
Yeah, freedom of innovation. I like it too. Yeah, it's nice.
But then I'm also able to leave it. Like when it's done, okay, I've created this. Now, who wants it?
Yeah.
Because I got something else to do.
Yeah, I love that because that's sometimes letting go of your babies is difficult. So to be able to do that takes a lot of courage, I think. Sometimes more courage than starting something.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near giving away Design for Joy.
No.
But, we're just in the thick of it. But, I like to share growth and opportunity for other women.
Yeah.
And joy, like the word joy.
Yeah.
Like
No, I love it.
Who doesn't want to be around joy, no matter what form it is?
You've been in the studio.
Yeah.
You know the livelihood that goes on there.
Yeah.
It's full of energy.
Yeah, it's a great space. Definitely.
Everything's about it is joyful, like your branding, your story. I mean, you and Kristen, it's just a very joyful experience, the whole thing. So.
It's a good fit. It's a good part of our personal lives right now, our professional lives, and the community needs it and loves it. And
yeah, and you obviously as a team have different skills and experiences that you brought to the table, and that's worked out pretty well, obviously.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
My office is all low country, Carolina's art. Her office is all Manhattan. She literally has a map of wallpaper on her office and all these sewing machines. And it's just like this perfect example of how she and I are different but complement each other so well.
And how do you two know each other, and how did you come together on this?
Yeah, our boys went to preschool together, and then we went to church together, and we did some mission work in the past. At the very beginning of like our ministry lives, have you heard of Sir Walter Apartments on Fayetteville Street?
Yeah.
Yes.
She was like a ministry leader there, and at the time we thought it was such a big deal. We didn't know how she was possibly going to do this job. She had never been in ministry before, and I'm like, I've got your back. We're going to figure this out. And basically what we did is just played bingo with old people, and we just figured it out.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, that's where like our growth and cheering each other on and championing each other in different sorts helped us in growing two boys too.
Oh my gosh, you need each other.
So we've had lots of varying experiences, and we know we can trust one another.
Oh, I love that. That's really important.
For sure.
And that trust and friendship is obviously coming through what you're doing and your mission to serve other women.
Yeah, but and speaking of serving other women, like other entrepreneurs who are listening, like to do a partnership, I don't know if I would recommend going into partnership in business with people. But this is such a great fit. But that also means that we've had difficult times. We've had to sit down and talk about difficult things or talk about communication on both sides. And you can imagine that as a couple in business together.
Yeah.
Even if you're a great fit, there's still things that you have to work on.
And how are some of the ways you navigate that or make it so it's not an all-out war?
Well, we've learned each other's behaviors, so I know that if we're talking about this specific thing, or if she knows she's got to talk to me about this certain thing, like we have to, be gentle with one another and like let that person kind of get through. Are you familiar with the Enneagram?
Yeah, I hear that so much.
Oh
so
my gosh.
I got familiar with it because I was hearing it all the time.
I'm not.
I am an 8, which is a challenger, and for me, it's very important that everything is fair for everybody, which you can imagine my justice work. That makes sense. And Kristen is a 9, and she's a peacemaker. So she wants everyone to be happy, even if it costs her.
Yeah.
So I'm very like this in a conversation, like in front of her. And when I see her pull back, I know this meeting is over.
Yeah, right.
She cannot hear. I've overwhelmed her. We just have to put a pin in it and come back to it later.
Wow,
that's been a good tool.
That's so valuable in all forms of life, not just business, to be able to do that. That's fantastic. And I want to hear, because I know the mission work that you've done is a big influence on your life and Designed for Joy. How did you get into that? What brought you into that world where you wanted to serve in this way?
I don't know if I have a really good answer for that. You may not use this.
We'll use everything.
I mean, I'm a believer. Like, I grew up in a Christian home, and we didn't just talk the talk, we walked the walk. And I had some incredible opportunities to serve women around the world and through church at the time. But then we started developing this relationship and a reputation where people would just call us and say, hey, we have a sewing team in Costa Rica, and they just need encouragement. Could you just go down there for a week?
Wow.
And we're like, yeah, we're going to do that. And so we bring a team of women down with a bunch of sewing machines, and Kristen would ask the leader, what do you want to learn? Like, how can I help you? They're like, we want to learn how to make bathing suits. So a bunch of 40-year-old moms are going down to Costa Rica and teaching them how to make bathing suits, and they're still selling them today.
That's
like, they're
so
still
amazing.
making the money. They have a shop that goes along with this business. So
that's amazing.
I mean, that turns me on.
Yeah.
Like, if I have opportunity to make an impact like that, and they inspire me even more than I inspire them.
Yeah.
So it's
reciprocal.
Habit.
Yeah.
I just want to do more and more.
Where else? What are some
love
other
it.
places that, over the years?
I've been to Belize several times in all area of Belize. So like in Belize City, in the rural areas, in San Pedro, La Isla Bonita, that Madonna sings about.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
served that island.
We haven't been to Belize yet.
Oh, I have a feeling that you guys would really enjoy it.
Yeah, I have a feeling we will too.
And it's so easy to get to, and mostly English speaking, in Rwanda and Uganda.
Oh,
Yeah.
we love Uganda.
Yeah, we have been there.
I've been to Uganda, not Rwanda.
Yeah, we did
They're the nicest people in Uganda. It's just
we had
such
quite the
lovely
adventure.
stories.
Yeah, we did the gorilla trek there in 2003, which was awesome.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Yeah.
We were in Rwanda in 2019, so right before COVID, like that fall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so our friends, like other friends, are starting to go back to visit other friends there. So I'm hopeful that we can start traveling like that again soon, confidently.
Yeah. It's still, at the moment, you don't want to be traveling anywhere with what's going on with the airlines. It's really insane.
That and COVID, just personal choice. But I got plenty to do here.
Yeah. So tell us more about Design for Joy and how you are helping these women, and a little bit about the process, and, you know, curious also to explore more about living wages, that kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah. So women are referred to us by other local agencies. So we have about 20 referring partners. These are partners, as you mentioned earlier, are supporting women who are emerging from trafficking or homelessness, time in prison, refugees. And they will call us and say, hey, I have a woman who needs a job. Or we'll call them and say, hey, we have an empty chair. You know, who do you have who needs some work? It's immediate work. If a referring partner contacts us with a woman, we're assuming that 99% sure that she's going to start work that day, because they trust us. We have a good relationship. They know we're going to give second chances and encourage her. We do lots of training. Some of our women have never had an official job before. Maybe they're coming from the sex industry. Maybe they're coming from a different country and don't even speak English, and we're totally relying on Google Translate during work. You know, but we just try to make it work. And the areas of work that we have, we sell gorgeous charcuterie boards. You can hardly get them because they sell out so quickly. But, you know, we have someone who's sanding that outside on the back. Then we have other women who do jewelry. And then we have several other women who are our sewists, and they're sewing like gorgeous leather bags all day long. And occasionally we'll bring someone on the retail side as well. So we really just try to find a job that fits their skill level. All you need is a willingness to learn. We're not trying to grow entrepreneurs or sewists, you know, or artisans, but this is simply the job that we have for them. So we give them an opportunity to refresh their resume. We give them a solid job reference, and we're giving job training every single day, in formal and in informal ways, because we want them to go off to get full-time work.
Yeah. And so how long typically do you see them working for you before they transition into full-time work?
You know, when we first started Design for Joy, we had imagined 9 to 12 months. But what we found is that women were building their confidence really quickly. And after about 3 months, they were going off to full-time work.
That's incredible.
It's very encouraging to watch. They're super inspiring to us. So right now we say 3 to 6 months. Of course, we don't push anyone out of the nest before they're ready. But then we do have a day work program that we started during COVID as well. It used to be women who are experiencing homelessness from the Women's Center would be referred to us, and they would work for 2 or 3 days. We pay cash at the end of the day, feed them, love them, and I'm like a 1099, so like independent work. But we have started now just incorporating that in our regular production. So it's happening weekly actually now, which is great. And so we can do that up to 8 times. And then for some, that's just what they need for a bus ticket to get out of here, or to wait for their next full-time job to start. And then for some, we do hire them if it works out really well for us, and them we'll bring them on for like a 3-month period.
And like, is this 40 hours a week? You're talking like Monday, Friday?
That's a good question. We don't offer full-time, but we have usually around 25 hours a week. But when I break it down to you this way, so we pay $15 an hour for what we consider a living wage. Is that a true living wage downtown Raleigh? Negotiable. We could talk about that. But this is where we start. Well, then our women are able to work for us for 20 hours a week, what they would be able and make the same amount of money that they would at a entry-level minimum wage job. In that 20 hours. So you're able to care for children, you're able to seek your medical care, you're able to see your parole officer. Like you can go to Southlight and get your methadone. We provide flexibility for women who are in really tough positions, and we provide safe places for her to express those needs too. Look, you need to go see your PO? You got to go. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we hold her spot for her.
Okay, cool.
There's, I'm sure, in another work experience, they wouldn't have someone who understood that and cared about that. I'm sure a lot of them wouldn't even want to tell their bosses what's happening in their life. So that's just a massive amount of support and security right there that you offer these women.
If your listeners could just walk away with that would be really important. And, you know, the need is ongoing, and there's no way Design for Joy could hire all of the women who need the work. But if we could inspire local business owners and corporate leaders to look at their employee demographic and how can we connect them with people who will train you for trauma to bring in trafficking survivors? How can we be an example for you to bring women in or men who have felony backgrounds? Like, we're the success story.
Yes.
Rely on us as your example, and let's really help people in a sustainable way by dignified, safe, and living wage work.
Yeah, so important, that dignity there. That's how someone changes their life, being given back that dignity and then that confidence to know they're supported by society.
Yeah, and self-worth, like all that, critical. And their housing situation, they get help with that via other means? Or that's all different, obviously, depending on the situation?
So what's cool about our referral program is that we don't have a case manager in-house. I would love to have that. At some point, we probably will. But we know when a woman is referred to us by another organization, she either has a case manager or a coach or a mentor or someone working with her to get her housing, get her kids back, whatever stability she's needing. And then that reserves us to be able to do what we do really well, is provide that vocational resource piece. Not that we don't provide some resources, but if everyone does what they do well, it makes this whole system benefit the women that we want to serve.
Yeah.
I remember when I heard you speak at the Women's Social Club, you shared an example that really stuck with me about, you know, the women that you're helping to support, how easy it is for a woman to be placed into vulnerable situations. And you shared a story of someone who just couldn't pay a parking fine and where that path ended up leading her. Could you share that? Because I think that's really powerful for people to understand how a vulnerable situation can happen to anybody and how valuable it is to have a society who cares about them.
Sure. So that story, a woman got a speeding ticket and she wasn't able to pay the ticket, which was like probably no problem for you to pay a $200 ticket, right? But for her, she's maybe coming from generational poverty or situational poverty, and she doesn't have the support or the resources to cover it. Well, then you get a warrant, and then you lose your license, and then you know this like
snowballs.
Right.
Yes, and if you do drive to work, then you're at risk going to jail. If you go to jail, things are even worse for you. And so it's just this reminder, you know, we always talk about like popping the bubble of living in Cary, North Carolina, that these things are happening in our community. Women are being trafficked. We do have encampment areas now in Apex, Cary, Holly Springs. You know, people are needing better housing opportunities. Yeah. They're needing better transportation to actually get to work, and we can't be blind to that.
No.
And I think that Design for Joy provides opportunities for our demographic, if you will, to actually learn about that. Like last night, we had a speaker in talking about what it looks like to be pregnant and in prison, and what are your choices when you have that baby in prison. And so I'm learning alongside all of our friends, but these are things that we should care about. We need to be caring about.
Absolutely.
Especially in this climate.
Yes.
Yeah, so much to think about. So many challenges that, not top of mind for us on a day-to-day basis.
Well, you know, you using your platform for me to be able to share and all the other people that get to come here too, like that is the way that you serve Raleigh, and that is perfect and beautiful because we all can't do all of it.
Yeah, and that's one reason we started the podcast, because we wanted to be able to use our voice in that way, because, you know, a lot of the stuff we don't feel sometimes confident, intelligent, knowledgeable enough to talk about ourselves, and why should we? We can have a platform that we can open up for other people to share.
Well, you create this fun atmosphere, though. People can come, they can learn fun things about Raleigh and watch your gorgeous family do whatever you're doing that day at the water park. But then also, like, learn a little bit about what's going on in our community.
Yeah, and obviously we're not originally from here, and so we're still learning on a daily basis, and meeting some incredible people like yourself, and stories, and getting inspired, and
Well, I'll offer another story. We have a woman who was actually in her 60s and lived a long life of isolation with trafficking in Cary, North Carolina. And she came to us through Salvation Army Project Fight. So Project Fight is the anti-trafficking organization. If you call the trafficking hotline ever, and you have a call about the Raleigh, North Carolina area, it's actually that is piped into the Raleigh, North Carolina Project Fight area. And so, which is good to know. That way, when you know, you're not just calling in these random facts to who knows a national hotline. It comes right to Raleigh. So anyway, she was referred to us, and she wasn't easy to employ, but we got through it. And you know what? She went off to full-time work in construction. She just got her own home and now a puppy. And she came back to this shop, to the studio with this puppy. And it's not even about the puppy. It's the idea that she has safety, security, and she has the means to care for something other than herself. And, when we have former artisans, we call the women who work with us artisans, come back, they are usually buying product, donating, or even volunteering their time, because they're advocating for the woman who is just like her, who just needed a freaking break.
I love that. And so you keep in contact a lot with the women who go through your program?
Not all the time, but we usually have a good idea where everybody is. And then, for data purposes and grant purposes too, we want to do some surveys with them afterwards to affirm and assure that the work we're doing actually does provide them stability and security and opportunity.
And you're just such an amazing success story and doing so many great things. Do you have the opportunity to share what you're doing with communities across the country, even further afield?
Stop asking me that.
Sorry.
No, I'm kidding. You can keep it. Because someone asked me that yesterday, like, you should franchise this. And I'm like,
oh my gosh. You know
easy.
What they're saying when people keep saying the same thing to you? It's a sign that
I don't know. I guess I need God in my face to say that, because I don't feel that at all. But I will tell you, if someone wants to get on the phone with me, or if you want to fly me out to wherever you are, I will tell you exactly what we did to get here, because the need is great, and I would be glad for anyone else to recreate something like this in there.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, that's amazing. Everybody listening?
I'll do it.
I just love it. I really just am so thankful for what you're doing, excuse me, with Design for Joy, and how you're helping so many women. It's so needed and so important.
Well, we have been, so I've lived in Raleigh my whole adult life. I grew up in Myrtle Beach, and so now I have teenagers, I'm married, and we have teenagers. But, even when they were little, we were always doing a lot of serving and volunteering in Raleigh. Like, we would do food drives, and we would do clothing drives, and then the women who were at these clothing drives kept asking me for bras, and I was like, we don't have bras. But I'm like, why don't we have bras? So we started doing bra drives. My house was full of bras, Craig. Like, my husband is very patient with me. So several times in Raleigh, we did these huge bra drives. Women who were experiencing homelessness or whoever needed a bra, they would come in, our volunteers would measure them. She would leave with 2 brand new bras in a boutique bag, like she had just come from the mall.
Love it.
And so all of these little yeses that I've said, like Costa Rica or the Broad Drive, like, have led us to Design for Joy. It didn't just happen. There's a lot of confidence building in myself and in our community, and really proximity to people who are needing the support, like listening to what they're needing and not assuming what you know. But it's our pure joy. Like, I live in Apex, but I spend most of my time in Raleigh for play and for work and for service, and my family really enjoys it too. And they have since they were little.
Yeah, we're the same. We spend a lot of time, live in Cary, but spend a lot of time in Raleigh.
Yes. Well, I'm about to be an empty nester. I only have 2 more years. So I'm trying to convince my husband to sell our Apex house and move downtown Raleigh.
That's in our plans too.
Great.
Totally. You're talking to me. Man, I would be here like today if I could.
Yeah.
But it's like just where we are right now in our life is
Yes.
like it's not quite the best fit, but yeah, I think about it all the time.
We've got a few more years, so we'll let you scout out the best place to live. And then
Well, have you been in the Bloomsbury? Right next to Y Hill. It's the building that looks old.
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
I
that's
just was there for
gorgeous.
cocktails with a friend who has a condo there, and the skyline in the
Okay, there you go.
sunset was beautiful. I'm like, sign me up.
Because the sunset from Y Hill's so pretty. So
Incredible.
obviously
Yeah, I've taken photos of that building before from my drone and stuff, and I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, I'd like to walk everywhere or bike and stuff like that. So obviously Raleigh's like the public transport and stuff. You got to drive everywhere if you're kind of out of the downtown area, which, can be a little bit frustrating.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Maybe
It could be.
that
It's in our future, I think.
Same.
But we usually move every 2 years, so I'm kind of like getting itchy feet already. Like that's been our pattern through the last 20 years. To be settled for too long is like a stretch.
Yeah.
Weird kind of feeling.
Well, when will your girls graduate?
Our eldest is nearly 15 and our youngest nearly 11, so we have a fair bit of time.
All right.
Still.
Yeah, a little while.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah.
It's going fast.
There you go.
But Apex and Cary are 2 great places anyway. So it's
Oh,
not.
for
It's not.
sure.
It's
They're great.
very livable. And then it's 15, 20 minutes to everywhere in Raleigh area, as you know.
I mean, there's people who just stay in their 5-mile radius in Holly Springs or Cary, and they're not interested. But for
that's
me,
right.
I've never been intimidated about driving downtown Raleigh. Like, I want to figure it out. I want to be a part of all of that.
Yeah.
And, the kids, we've always done all the museums and every parade and all the festivals. And, our family has really enjoyed downtown Raleigh.
Yeah. It's a fun, vibrant place. And now your studio in the Warehouse District is making it even more fun and vibrant.
Yeah.
There you go.
Lots of change going on over there.
And so people can come in and visit Design for Joy. So tell us a little bit about how people in the community can support what you're doing in the different ways they can connect to Design for Joy and possibly even volunteer.
Sure. Well, shopping is the easiest, probably. Yeah. We do have a storefront that's open Mondays through Saturdays, 10 to 2. We do have an online shop. We actually have a thriving wholesale business too. So actually we have boutiques around the country who sell our products as well. But you can come in and volunteer. You can volunteer on our retail side or join us at a pop-up around the Triangle or even out of state. We've got a big Nashville trip coming up for our Christmas show and everyone wants to go on that trip for sure.
Fun.
Totally.
But you can work in production. So you can work right alongside of our women. You might be tagging products as they're finishing or whatever. But if whatever you do in your personal or professional life really well, we probably need it. So for you all, like you joined our communications and marketing team, at least as a support, as an advisory role. Like whatever you do well, we need it. If you're an attorney, if you're a graphic designer, if you have an organization business, like whatever you do, come on down, find a spot with Design for Joy.
So just turn up, or is there a form online they fill out?
There's a tab online. Volunteer tab, so you can fill out that form. But then we have signups, and you can bring in meals. Our women are 100% come to us with food insecurities. So on Mondays we provide meals, and then we also ask for fresh grocery delivery once a week, just so that we always have fresh fruit and sandwich making supplies there, so no one's coming to work hungry.
Yeah, I love that. That's so important. And you have, I see you at the pop-up markets, like I think it's the Triangle pop-up market and stuff. So you often have stalls at those ones around the Wake County area, don't you?
Yes.
And just run us through the range of products again that you have?
Sure.
Or not, you don't have to go through all of them, but...
We have gorgeous leather handbags, great, incredible detail, jewelry. Right now we have clay earrings are super popular, so we have a whole new line of clay earrings, but we use lots of leather medium as well. And then home decor, and the charcuterie boards are always hard to get your hands on because everyone loves those, and that's a really great trend.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
We have a new backpack that we just launched.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not even sure if it's on the website yet. I think we just did a pre-sale for it. But These are like incredibly gorgeous, well detailed, created. Yeah. These are not homemade. These are handmade leather products that are done right in Raleigh. And, you know, we're really mindful of the way that our business impacts others. So we're very mindful of our sourcing. Actually, all of our smooth leather comes from the United States.
Oh, that's so good.
From start to finish, you can know that we're intentional about who we're impacting with our brand.
Yeah, definitely supporting local and then USA.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so great.
And what was your first product? And do you think your product range will evolve much from here, or like you, you know, just keep it as is for the time being?
One of our first products was this fabric, this branch wrapped in fabric, and it was gorgeous. But it was huge, and it was very difficult to transport. Remember when I told you we didn't have a space? We were having to put like all of these branches in Kristen's minivan, and then we would have artisans wrap these branches with fabric, and they were beautiful, and they sold really, really well. But those days are over, and that served its purpose and, like, you know, got us started. But what's cool about having relationships with our wholesale businesses, like our boutique owners and their buyers, is that they will tell us what they're shopping for. And they'll even call us from market and say, hey, we're interested in this, but if you all can make it, we would rather buy it from you.
Oh, I love that.
And so they really keep us on top of trends. And actually this year we've started going to markets as vendors ourselves. So we'll be going to Atlanta next week and being able to pitch our product to buyers all over the country.
Oh, that's very exciting. Because that's the big one, right? Atlanta's like a big
deal. It is one of the top 3 or 4 markets. But so we want to stay on trend. So I want to honor Kristen's skill and talent, and there's space for that. But also we want to be on trend. So the more orders we have, obviously, more work we can provide.
And shipping throughout the US or abroad as well? Or
only the US. If you can figure out international, I'll do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be trying to figure that out right now. Australia actually, I think they may have just reopened, but they closed down any international mail for several months there during the pandemic. Yeah. So
do you do any like seasonal type stuff, like around, say, Mother's Day or Christmas, or anything's relevant for those things as well, I guess?
We do have a Christmas line, and we have gorgeous like bells. During COVID, Kristen spent hours listening to bells on the internet making sure that she was buying the best bells.
Oh my gosh.
One of our
ear was ringing?
and one of our best sellers at a holiday is it's a ornament that has a leather oak leaf with an acorn bell. And on the oak leaf, you can get it plain, but you can also get it with Raleigh, North Carolina on it. And so that's a great like souvenir or gift for your family members outside of town or even your neighbors.
That's
very relevant.
When does that become available?
Soon.
You
know, in retail, it's Christmas almost.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
Like,
you don't hate it?
And we have men's products. We have gorgeous leather dop kits. We have gorgeous leather journals, desk valets, trays. So we have cord organizers. So we have stuff for guys too.
What is a dop kit? I feel like I've just been introduced to an American term.
Oh, I don't know. Do you know what a dop kit is?
I do not. Dop
He was
kit.
going with it.
Yeah, it's like...
It's a men's toiletry bag.
It's called a dop kit?
So it's like it's usually just kind of boxed shape.
Yeah.
And then we have this very masculine zipper on it, and it's got like tabs and to carry it. But
how does a zipper become masculine versus
wait till you see
non-masculine? Yeah, I haven't heard that term either. Like I always need a good toiletry bag. Like the amount of travels and that we do. Like I just bought a new one recently.
Yeah, well, you'll never need another one again.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
There
Sounds
you go.
very durable too, which like they need to be.
Fully.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, let us know when the Christmas stuff is.
I'm just glad we're doing this over water and not margaritas because
Oh,
I feel like that my conversation.
I forgot to ask you. Like, is it too early?
Is
Never.
it too early for margaritas?
It's Thursday. Come
I
on.
love a margarita.
Yeah,
There
me
you go.
too.
Where's your favorite? Do you have a favorite margarita spot in Raleigh?
In my driveway.
There you go.
Every Friday night during COVID.
Book us in.
Oh, yeah?
You who may come.
Yes.
We, after 2 months of COVID, and I felt like I didn't spend any time with my husband, even though I spent all my time with him.
Yeah.
And I was
Makes
like,
sense.
we have got to figure this out. And so we made Friday night like our date night, and we haven't stopped. And so some nights it's a drink and straight to bed. And some nights it's an all-nighter with our 90s playlist, you
Oh
know?
my God.
And
Awesome.
so we really enjoyed that.
Wow, it sounds like I wish we were neighbours.
You can Uber. You can
That sounds
Uber.
like the party street, the fun street. Yeah. Cool.
And speaking of COVID, I know during COVID you started your porch parties, which really helped you navigate through the challenging times of COVID. Can you share a little bit more about that? Because you're still doing your porch parties, correct?
Yeah. That was not my idea. It was one of our friends' ideas.
Yeah.
And it was before COVID. We were going to do ask every like historical home that we loved in Raleigh if they would host a porch event for us on one particular weekend. So kind of like a tour of homes, but also shop Design for Joy and learn more about Design for Joy. Well, then COVID hit and we squashed that, and we just reinvented that and said, well, if we just ask our friends to bring in a box of our products home, put it outside where their friends could shop safely, they could shop from their phones, and I mean, I don't know how many we did, but that really did get us through COVID. Like imagine 10 or 20 pop-ups a month around the, and some do $200 and some have done $5,000.
Wow, that's amazing.
So if you wanted to host a little porch party at your home, it's super easy. There's no sales goals. Everyone gets 10% off, and we get to share our mission with your neighbors.
Wow,
I love that.
love it, yeah.
And so anyone can sign up via your website, and then someone will deliver the products to their house. Is that how it works?
Half right. You'll sign up, but then you'll come to the studio and you'll grab your box. But the benefit of that too is like we can go through that box with you, and then if you know like, oh, my friends really want the boards or they really want this particular bag, then we'll just make sure we'll send some extras with you.
Oh,
Okay,
great.
so and are you guys on scene as well, or no? They just purely hosted
and that's
themselves.
the beauty of it is like we don't have to extend our staff. Like we give the hostess what she needs to have this event, and then she hosts it on her own.
But if you're
such a
not
fun
there,
party.
who's making margaritas?
I don't make the margaritas. I drink the margaritas.
You don't make them.
Who do you think?
Is it your husband makes the margaritas?
Who do you think I
There
am?
you go. A woman of many skills, no doubt.
You pop the recipe card in the box. There you go.
I wish we had a porch. We don't have a porch. We have a back screened in deck.
Yeah, that works. You
Does it
can
have
do
to
it.
be a porch?
People
Could be a
ask
deck?
that.
Could it be a deck?
Totally not.
This was the conversation we had
Yes.
in our
Really?
Why
meeting.
is that so hard? Here's your garage. Here's your driveway.
Yeah.
Front yard.
There you go.
Office
Just
building.
branded
I don't
porch.
care.
Porch party has a good ring to it, but yeah, it can be any space.
Apparently, we need to rework that wording.
Yeah, I love the wording of it though.
Oh, yeah.
But people
PP,
are getting
porch
confused
party.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pop up porch party. Yeah, there you go.
But you do, as a business
Sorry
owner,
to
you
throw
see
you
the
off there.
benefit of like us not having to be there.
Oh yeah.
I can't do every pop-up.
Oh, no.
I mean, I would love to. I would recruit a lot of people into Design for Joy, but just couldn't,
So you could
couldn't make it work.
You could
do it, no.
Yeah, like in that sense, you could do one 7 nights a week then. Like if you're not.
Yeah,
like,
but don't want to be married.
Yeah. No, but if you're not there,
Yes,
if they
I'm
just
not there.
if they just take the ball and run with it,
Yes.
like yeah,
I'm all about
leverage.
delegating.
Totally.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we were speaking before we were recording about being an entrepreneur and what it actually looks like behind the scenes. And I know you said you're here at 8 a.m. plus you have an event on tonight, and you know it's difficult for people looking from the outside in and not understanding that it's like mania behind the scenes. Like it's just go go go. And I mean, you're here doing different events, and it's pretty intense.
It's always something to do.
Yeah.
Will we hire the right people? Like, I feel confident, like, we can scale it and grow it if we recruit the right people
Yeah.
and give them ownership to do their jobs and teach them to, like, really train people to take their jobs so they can grow with the business, too.
I love that. That's a great way of looking at leadership, empowering, which is your whole mission, empowering people to take responsibility and be responsible, I guess, for their own growth. It's so great that you give them that confidence and responsibility.
Yeah, we talk about like lifting your fingerprints off. Like, I'm lifting my fingers off of this, so now it's yours. So I'm moving on to grow and figure this thing out, and then you do that to the person behind you.
And are you finding from your experience that people are thriving more with that approach?
I mean, I think we all struggle with, well, I'm going to do this best, right? So, but just reminding, like, okay, trust this person, and I'll say she because that's our business, but trust that she'll do her work well and you do your work well, and we bring these together, it's going to be a good fit. And if it's not, we'll tweak it.
I love that. It's so great.
So what's the address of your location now? And
That's important.
Pardon?
That's important.
Yeah. And obviously when you pick that space, like it's very accessible if someone has to catch a bus downtown, or even it's not near the train station too. They can walk to your place. Yeah. So obviously.
The address is 517 West Cabarrus Street. It's a great location in that we have the Women's Center right across, who are referring partners of ours. Helen Wright is there as well. So some of our women will stay at Helen Wright, which is overnight care.
Okay.
And you're right. We're just a couple blocks away from the bus station. And for some of our women, this new location is saving them hours and hours in their week. Our previous location for some women required 2 bus rides, which was literally like, for some, like 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so imagine just transporting children and getting them to daycare and then trying to get to work. So our location is really ideal.
Yeah. And I guess if someone had to come from Durham, or they could catch the train, I guess, if they wanted to the Amtrak station.
They could, but what would be great is if someone started something like this in Durham.
Yeah.
Durham,
it would.
are you listening?
I'll come train you.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And also, I want to mention on First Fridays, because we love First Fridays and we always encourage people to come downtown for that.
We do.
You offer tours of the space. Is that correct?
Always, always. Anytime our doors are open, someone's really happy to give you a tour, because you have to really get in there to see.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And then, so we are open on Fridays 5 to 7. Our hours are usually a little earlier than the other restaurants and stuff, but we want everybody getting off of work to stop by before their happy hour or during their happy hour and see our space before they go out to dinner. And, you know, in addition to that, we've also started a corporate engagement opportunity. So business groups can come in. We started them on Fridays, but actually we've added more dates because people really are excited about this. You can come and volunteer on your lunch break. So your office mates or whatever can come in and work alongside of our artisans for an hour, learn about Design for Joy, get some volunteer work done, and that's just an incredible way to increase our corporate awareness and support.
Yeah. Very important and kind of an easy way for corporates to support what you're doing.
Yeah, great outing for an office.
Yeah.
Yeah, hear that, Raleigh?
Team building.
Nobody has any excuse. There you go. Make
go.
use of your lunchtime and your downtime.
Yeah,
I love that.
Come make jewelry.
Yeah. It's a joyful experience.
It really is.
Joy all around. You get joy in creating the product, and somebody gets joy in receiving.
Yes. And there'll be someone very willing to share their story there.
Yeah.
So you can be mindful of the impact that you're making.
Yeah, I think that's important for people to be able to see, to experience that to the first hand and know that the differences are being made and they can see it right in front of them.
You know, we all have people in our lives that we think, who's going to hire them after that? Who's going to hire them after that arrest? Who's going to hire them after that addiction issue or that domestic violence or that physical scar or mental health issue? We will.
Yeah, I love that.
And so it's easy. It's an easy thing to get behind. And, you know, sometimes I don't know why, our volunteers and donors come to us. And sometimes I figure it out and sometimes I don't. But, you know, I have a friend who, she's full sleeves, and I don't really know her story. I just know her as an adult and as a young mom. And she said to me once, after being a donor for a long time, she said, you know, I was a stripper and I did drugs until it wasn't fun. And you're helping women who are like me. Yeah. And I was like, I see why she gives so much.
Yeah.
And we all, and you don't have to have had a life in the sex industry to need a second chance. We all know abandonment. We all know divorce. We all know struggles with substance use. We all know mental health issues. And we all deal with self-doubt opportunities. So,
yeah, and none of us are immune to any of life's difficulties. Any kind of situation could happen to us, you know, and it's just that awareness, that compassion, and helping one another. Like, we're a community. We're here for each other. We don't need to be isolated and, well, that's their problem, not mine. That's not how we live a healthy, vibrant, thriving life.
And when our volunteers are sharing these life stories, too, with our women, they're realizing, oh, well, you don't have it perfect either.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how we learn to trust people and trust women.
Yeah.
When we're vulnerable.
Vulnerable, yeah. There's a lot of studies out there about the power of vulnerability and how it transforms.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it is. Well, I just absolutely love what you do. I love having you on the podcast and chatting with you, and it is just a joy. You are a joyful person,
Thanks.
so you're on brand. We want to ask some Raleigh questions.
Yeah, we can. Some lighter questions. I was going to ask you, like, who else in the space in Raleigh, like the non-profit space or entrepreneurial space, that inspires you?
So Jackie Craig, one of the and Beth Smoot, the co-founders of the Green Chair Project.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
They're
yes.
like
Yes.
the VIPs to me.
Yeah.
Like, if they're in the room, I'm not talking, I am listening.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
And Jackie gave me time early on. Like, I couldn't even believe she was sitting with me to talk to me about, like, what I wanted to do. Bray Spoon of the Women's Center is the director there. He too, like, we were babies in the nonprofit world, and he invited us into his office. And I remember that day clearly because I was nervous and I had my shirt inside out. Oh. And right, of course, Brace did not notice this, but I was like, here we are, like this big time guy in front of me talking about this. And he's like, and then he trusted us. He saw something really special in us. And so I really appreciate the shots that they gave us and the advice that and time they give us.
I love that. Again, it speaks to the power of support and collaboration. We can't exist without it.
We're friends with all of our partners. Like, most of them, we're texting them. Like, there's this very healthy sense of community. And, you know, we hear difficult stories in our space all of the time. But when I leave to go to my house in Apex, like, I see that Raleigh skyline, and I know that people are doing good work. We're doing good work. They're doing good work. And if you need the support, it's here for you if you want it. I believe in Raleigh,
Yeah, you need to believe. I think, you know, we say all the time it's a special place, and I think that's one reason it's special.
Yeah, everyone we interview talks about the collaboration and the support and the spirit, and everyone's just willing to give a leg up to anyone in need. That's
in
great.
the nonprofit realm, but also in the small business realm too. Like, it is very friendly and not competitive. It is.
It's a special place.
Done.
We love you, Raleigh.
Yeah, but I guess we could ask some easier, more lighthearted questions, I guess.
Yeah. So, oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna.
I was going to say something, but I don't need to go because you said it before. No, you said it before.
Okay. We always ask our guests, like, for a bit of Raleigh specific, lighthearted questions. Like, if you got you mentioned you've spent a lot of time here in Raleigh. You grew up in Myrtle Beach. If you got someone from Myrtle Beach coming to visit, where are you taking them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the Raleigh area?
Breakfast would probably be Big Eds. Right?
That's a common answer. Can't go wrong there.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to pause on lunch, but I love Bita Manda for dinner.
Oh my
and I'm
gosh,
probably saying it wrong, but it's truly my favorite.
Correct. I mean, it's so authentic.
Yeah.
My family
Very
knows for
Laotian.
Mother's Day or my birthday, that's what I want.
That's
Yeah, we've been to Laos, and it's amazing there. But and this is the closest example that we've
it's the real deal.
Laotian food that we've tasted.
It's incredible. Brewery Ravana right next door.
Yep.
But I always keep a running list of restaurants. So either restaurants that are new or restaurants that I haven't been to yet. My interns told me that I need to go to Lola's Beach Bar.
Yeah,
That's on our list. It looks fun.
They have a fun Instagram. I always see, they got some cool updates and stuff.
Yeah.
We haven't got there ourselves either.
And then Oak Steakhouse is on my list.
Okay, we haven't been there yet either.
Yeah, I love steak. I need to get there. I don't know why I haven't been there yet.
It's on the list.
soon. Drink-wise, like you mentioned margaritas, anywhere, a particular bar or beverage place you like to frequent, or a date night spot with your husband somewhere?
We got the driveway on lock.
On
So
lock.
we do that really well.
It's hard-
We
is
always
it-
enjoy a cocktail wherever we are. And I'm so excited about the new social district. Have you
I
seen
know.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just announced.
Yes, it's just been announced, yesterday or the day before? Yeah, interesting.
That's going to be fun.
Fayetteville Street area. Correct.
So you should know, 20 years ago, actually, my husband had this tip for you.
Okay.
Remember, tell them 20 years ago, there used to be a Live After 5.
We've been there.
Yes, we've been there.
How?
Live after 5.
We were first here in 04.
04.
We've been here a while.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it used to be there, and
You've been here for 20 years?
Well.
on and off.
Okay.
This time
I'm
around
that
5
doesn't-
years.
Your story
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You get it all
You
right.
gotta
What's
go.
wrong with these people?
You need to go back and listen to some previous podcast episodes. Just quietly.
Leave the Australians.
Just quietly.
He's a rugby player, guys. So you can't trust that. Anyway, okay, so you do remember Live After 5.
Yeah.
And so that was a big deal.
Yeah, that was fun. I hope they bring that back.
Well, I don't know if they will, but this is an interesting process.
yeah.
But we couldn't remember if it was like a Thursday or a Friday night, or was it Friday?
Yeah, because Rob and I were dating, so that was like a big deal. We would always go there.
That was your thing.
Yeah.
So do you remember the one they used to have at Moore Square? I was always thinking it was a Live After 5, but it wasn't. They used to have, in the summer, I think it was every Friday, they would have a concert down in Moore Square.
I think that you're right, but I think that's when I was having babies, so I wasn't there.
Okay. There you go.
Well, that's fair. And they used to have the beer fest in Moore Square too.
Yeah,
One time.
I wasn't there.
You weren't there either? Okay. We were there.
You're a little bit behind. I mean, you're a little bit behind us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Family,
We were
yeah.
behind for
Yeah.
that one.
Well, any favorite family activities you guys like to do in the area?
Well, I did ask the kids, like, what are some of your favorite things? And my teenage boy says, we just eat now in downtown. That's all teenage boys do.
Yeah.
But and they're old enough to come down and try new restaurants and enjoy it as well. But
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, but like, think about what we usually do. And everyone was like, marbles. Like, they still have these,
Marbles.
like, fond memories.
Spent a few,
Yeah.
a bit of my time there.
A lot of time in
I
Marbles.
started paying babysitters to take my kids because I was so over it.
Oh
We had
God,
gone
that's
so many
clever.
times.
Yeah, smart move.
But I love Marbles. Marbles
Yeah.
does incredible work for our community.
It
Yeah.
really does.
And I love going up on the Dillon and looking over the skyline.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have a bar or a restaurant up there, but that's always like a really nice thing to be able to go over there and overlook.
Yeah, I don't know
that's
if
a
you
pretty
can
view.
still access that now. I tried to go up there, it's a little while ago, but you couldn't. I don't know if they blocked it to non-residents of the building. I'm not sure. I'll have to check it out again.
Maybe
But,
it was just a night they were having an event or something.
No, because I've been up there a few times in the past, but yeah, maybe there was a special hosted event on or something but yeah. A few people have mentioned through our Instagram that you can't get up there anymore.
Oh.
I'll have to go and suss it out.
They were going to put a restaurant up there before, and then COVID hit. And that plans, it was the same owners as Beatamunda, actually. We're going to put like a Vietnamese street food restaurant up there.
Killing me. I know
So
you're
good, but yeah, COVID just.
So we had our evening of giving there last year, which was nice. So it was open air, safe for COVID. And then this year, our big fundraiser will be at the museum, North Carolina Museum of Art.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Yes, that's
And when's
September
that?
29th.
September 20th. And can anyone go to that?
Yeah, it's a ticketed event. Tickets will open later this summer, but we're currently seeking sponsors.
Okay. It's good to know. Listen
Yeah,
to
we do
Raleigh.
a monthly blog post on events in Raleigh, and also like a weekly email thing as well.
Yeah.
We'll be sure to mention
Yeah,
all
yeah.
your
So
stuff
send
in
all
that.
that through to me, and I'll make sure that goes out in our newsletter
Yeah,
and
think of us.
event
That's
post.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
You got a favorite getaway spot in North Carolina?
Well, I think my daughter's looking at UNCA, so I think I better get real familiar with Asheville.
I think you like Asheville. Have you been
Yes,
there?
a couple of times,
okay,
but I
yeah.
don't know it really, really well. But I will say, growing up in Myrtle Beach, it's taken me a while to get familiar with the beaches on the coast of North Carolina. So every once in a while, we're very intentional about, instead of just going home, my hometown, we just try a new beach in North Carolina.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you like them? Do you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I'm a Myrtle Beach girl.
You're
like it or not, I would think what you want about that. But
Well, I guess there's that last question.
Yeah, so we just ask all of our guests the last final question. If we were to say, this is Raleigh, what's like a word or phrase that comes to mind for you to sum up this is Raleigh?
Joy.
Yeah, I love it. Perfect.
Yeah. Raleigh is joy, a joyful place to be.
It really is.
The people are joyful.
Yep.
It's all good.
Yep.
You know, that joy comes from hope and people who are investing in others and committed to community and wanting others to thrive. And that's where I want to be.
I love that. It's such a great perspective on joy. I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming and joining us. It's been so great having you on the podcast.
Thank you. I'm a big fan. I love watching your family and all your adventures.
Thank you.
Thanks for following.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening, guys. If this is your first time on our podcast, you can find us on all the platforms and subscribe and share us with a friend. Share the love. We always appreciate that. And we'll also be publishing this on IGTV and YouTube. Mm-hmm. And that's all at This Is Raleigh.
Yep. And all of the show notes will include all links and everything we've chatted about today. So head over to thisisraleigh.com. You can join our newsletter while you're there so you don't miss an important update.
Yeah. Thanks again. That was awesome, inspiring, all the things.
Thank you.
All right, bye guys. See you in the next episode.